Tonight's event is part of an ongoing conversation we've been engaged in with the community around homelessness and homelessness on the east side for the past couple years. This is a challenge that our community faces, and the council has now taken the opportunity to talk about what are the land use code regulations that are needed to allow a homeless shelter facility to operate successfully in the city of Bellevue.
The Bellevue Land Use Code guides development in Bellevue, so it ensures that Bellevue's development reflects the values of its community. So the council's goals are to develop a land use code amendment before the August recess. They've directed staff to bring back an update that affects the sections of the code that would address shelter uses. Staff is working very hard to listen to the public, to develop a land use code amendment for council consideration.
It's important for people to stay engaged in the process because the council's goal is really to find a set of regulations that will allow a shelter to operate successfully in the community. And we need the community to help us define what that success looks like. We need to hear from people what their concerns are, and we need to be able to explain what tools we have through the land use code that can help meet those concerns. Tonight's event was really geared towards educating the public. So we had a number of stations and boards where people could learn about feedback we'd received, research we have done, how that research was folded into the draft land use code amendment. It was also geared to provide opportunities for people to give us additional feedback around specific topics that we expect to address in the land use code. And finally, we had one of our general education opportunities about a survey that we performed and what we learned from the survey.
What are the important ingredients for a shelter to be successful in this city? You know, we've heard that good neighbor agreements are something that we need. We've heard that codes of conduct are important to people. We've heard that there are, in reviewing other shelters elsewhere, there are best practices about separating elevators in a shelter from an elevator in supportive housing that maybe occupy the same building. So we'll be taking all of that information and drafting a code that reflects the feedback that we've heard and the research we've done.
We really see this as a two-way conversation and education opportunity. So number one, what we want people to get out of this workshop is an understanding of how we've taken the feedback we've heard already and incorporated that into the regulations. So we want people to know we have heard them and what we've done with that already, so that from there people know how to engage with the council on the next step of the process. Residents can stay engaged in the process through a number of mechanisms. We have on our website all of this information. There's a web page around homelessness, and under that page you can find information about the land use code amendment process. There's staff contact information. We are always available to answer questions by email, sit down face-to-face with folks, and then there will be a council engagement schedule that will also be published on the website. An email address is available for any comments that people want to send throughout the duration of the project, and that is LUCA, shelter L-U-C-A, at bellevuewa.gov.
The process matters because we all want Bellevue to be a great place to be. So robust participation in a code amendment process helps us ensure that our code that guides development reflects the values of the community.